Music theory. So everything makes pitch, right? I make pitch, you make pitch, even my cat makes pitch. But there are two different types of pitch. There's fixed sound and not fixed sound. The piano produces a fixed sound because you just play it. But with a guitar, you can play an infinite amount of fixed sounds from bending it and other crazy stuff. But what is pitch? The question of the century. It's just how high or low you play. It's easy. That was a bad example. That's pitch there. But these pitches all have names which we have to learn if we want to read and play music. People of the internet, this is a piano. The notes here represent different pitches that you can play. If you want to play A, then look for the white note in between the second and third of the group of 3 black notes. That one there. Then from here, it goes up like the alphabet until G. Then it repeats, because music built different. So we know the names of these pitches now, but how do we write them? Said no one ever. Here we have the stave, which we learnt in the last video. If we choose a clef, then we can show how high or low the pitches are. So if we use a treble clef, then the notes drawn reflect these pitches above middle C. If we use a bass clef, then the notes drawn reflect these pitches below middle C. For now, you'll only need to know these 2 clefs, unless you play viola, which I feel bad for you. You can also use leisure lines if you want to go higher or lower than the stave, but these can be hard to read when you start to have 50 leisure lines, so be careful. Or just whack in an 8 octave if you're going Rachmaninoff style. There is a rule for drawing the note stem which is very important. If the note is above the middle line on the stave, then it goes down, and if it's below, it goes up. Yeah, rules. Now that the fun stuff is out of the way, let's take a look at piano music. Music for the beloved piano is written out on 2 staves bracketed together, the upper one for the right hand and the lower one for the left hand, unless you're going Rachmaninoff style. We've learned about the white notes, but we also have black notes. Black notes get their name from the white notes. If they are to the right, i.e. higher in pitch, then they're sharp. If they are to the left, lower in pitch, then they are flat. Therefore, each black note has 2 names to learn. Have fun. This means sharp, and this means flat. They're always placed before a note like this, but we pronounce that note as C sharp. I wish that was a joke, but it's true. Also, there are some cases where white notes can be written in different ways, like B sharp is the same note played as C. When you learn about scales later on, this makes more sense. There's also naturals which cancel out the sharp or flat that has been applied to the note. More stuff. Intervals mean the distance in pitch from one note to the neighbouring note. The smallest distance you can have is a semitone, like C to C sharp. An interval of 2 semitones is called a tone, like C to D. If you've somehow managed to survive that information overload, then well done, we're a third of the way there. Scales are the building blocks of music. Without them, you could still play music, but would you be able to play the Phrygian scale and be considered cool? No. So let's look at how to make a major scale. To make said major scale, you will need this song. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So now you know this song. If you desire to make a major scale, then find a starting note, like so, and go up the intervals, like so. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. If your starting note is a C, then you'd call this scale C major scale. Finally, a rule that makes sense. For other notes though, you'll need to add sharps or flats to make this scale. For example, in G major, to get the 7th degree of the scale, you'll need to add a sharp to achieve the tone, from the 6th to the 7th, i.e. those notes there, and the semitone from the 7th to the 8th, i.e. those notes. Another example is F major, where you'll need a flat on the 4th degree because of the semitone needed after the A. Tone, tone, semitone. In music, we call the starting note of a scale the key note. But why is this important? Because it lets me transition into key signatures. If you're writing a piece of music in G major, then you don't want to manually write a sharp for every F there is, right? That's a waste of time. That's why we have key signatures. They start the music with all the sharps and flats you need for your key note, and they affect every octave of the sharpened or flattened note. I have returned. Unlike time values, key signatures need to be written on every line of music. If the key signature changes, then chuck in a double bar line and rewrite your new key signature. If your new key signature is C major, then just use naturals to cancel out the previous key signature. like this handy example. If you want to change the clef in a piece, then do it before the bar line. If you want to change the time signature, then do it after the bar line. All changes you do need to be shown on the next line of music, so people reading your masterpiece won't get too frustrated. If they can even read music, of course. Here's a fun one to know. Sharps, flats and naturals used in your piece are called accidentals. Once you use an accidental, it remains in force until the end of the bar, so you don't need to write one out every time in the same bar. If a note is tied over a bar line, then the accidental isn't written again. Composers are lazy, what can I say? But if that tied note appears again in the same bar, then write out the same accidental. Oh, this video wasn't accidental to make. Anyway, for accidentals, they only apply to one note, so for different octaves you'll need to rewrite them. And that's it. If you survived all that, then it's a miracle. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you dudes next time.